We'll call the meeting to order. Let's see. Everybody present? My goodness, this is weird. So first we're going to do celebration.
We are.
Teachers of the Year.
We are going to do Teachers of the Year, and we're going to start at the high school and work our way down.
Okay.
So we're going to go out and get them one at a time.
One at a time.
Principal and Teacher of the Year at a time.
While they're coming, Jody, are we having a
Good afternoon, guys. Introduce to you guys Mr. Ken Francis, and he is no stranger to this recognition assembly. He is a third. Let me get my glasses on so I can read my cheat sheet here. But he is been in public school teaching for 31 years. He first taught in Texas for 2 years, and then in Gentry for 6 years, and 23 years so far in Siloam Springs. During his tenure here, he's been awarded the Teacher of the Year in 2008, 2009, 2013-14, and this year will be his third time to be honored. He also has served several years as our Visual Arts Department lead, and he has had very, my glasses are fogging up, many accomplishments. His students, both past and present, having included art competition awards. Mr. Francis's students have won first place in the 3rd Congressional Art Competition 11 times in the past 16 years. And many others have placed in the top 5. Those winners have had works on display in the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., and they were also awarded trips to go to view that and represent our school. His students have also won several awards in arts in the center of awards at the Arts Center of the Ozarks, and many were accepted into and awarded at the Governor's Mansion Young Artists Competition. A couple of his fellow art teachers had this to say about Mr. Francis. He is a wonderful mentor to teachers and students alike. He is known for his kindness, his patience, his heart of gold, and his knowledge of the content. Students and teachers both learn so much from him as he shares this knowledge freely. The artistic talents that Mr. Francis has is that of a professional artist, but he chooses rather to dedicate his time to students. His students and teachers are thankful that he is afforded that opportunity. Mr. Francis has been such a positive influence and important part of the lives of many teachers and students at Siloam Springs High School, and we look forward to many more years with him. So, Mr. Francis, on behalf of the Siloam Springs High School, I'd like to congratulate you for being the Teacher of the Year for the 2019-2020 school year. You got anything you'd like to say to this bunch?
Thank you all. It's been a privilege and an honor to work with you. Really had everybody voted. I wouldn't want anywhere else to teach. It's the greatest place there is to teach. So thank you all for all that.
Thank you.
Thank you. We do too.
Good evening. Can you all hear me all right? Great. Well, I am Michelle Markovich, principal at Main Street Academy, the 9th through 12th grade alternative school, and it is a great honor tonight to be able to introduce to you our teacher of the year, Julie Lewis. Julie has been in education for 24 years, and during that time she has taught everything from pre-K, first grade, GT, math interventionist, dyslexia, and that was before she joined MSA 5 years ago and was able to add to her repertoire Algebra 1 and a variety of extracurriculum classes that we have needed her to teach. Julie received her BS of Education from the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville and her Master's in Education from SMU in Dallas. Julie was inspired to be a teacher by the many amazing educators in her life. While working with kindergarten students in a mentoring program, she had someone see in her potential to be a teacher that could really influence the lives of others. And this is where her love grew for children who did not always have all the support they needed to reach their full potential. The thing that Julie loves most about teaching is building positive relationships with her students and helping them build their self-confidence to reach their full potential in life. Julie shared, "I love watching them realize that they can really do something they did not originally believe they could. There really are those light bulb moments when they truly understand, and those moments make everything worth the extra effort." She hopes that her students feel loved, respected, and connected when they are in her classroom. She also hopes that when they are ready to leave her room, they will know that they have learned lessons that will serve them outside of the four walls of our school, and that they will continue to be lifelong learners. Some of the things that I love about having Julie in our building is her limitless creativity and her ideas for helping students learn, her infectious laughter, her willingness to teach any class that we need, no matter how close it is to the first day of school, her ability to work with our team at MSA, sharing strategies and encouragement. Her co-workers also add to that she is an enterprising visionary, driven, and joyful. Believe it or not, Julie has time to do things outside of school. She loves volunteering with her church and doing service and charity work with the local Rainbow Girls Assembly and Eastern Star chapter. She also loves gardening, quilting, arts and crafts, and photography. Her passion is to take things and give them a second chance in life. Maybe it's replanting flowers from a neighbor, remaking clothing or household items into something useful. So we can see that everything that Julie touches turns into something beautiful. Julie, congratulations on being our Main Street Academy Teacher of the Year. You want to?
Thank you. I just want to say that in all my years of education, Siloam Springs feels like home. And I can tell you that I wouldn't be the teacher I was today without the love and support of good team members and without the support and dedication of our administration and our school board. So thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am smiling under my mask in case you can't see. So thank you for allowing us this time to recognize and honor one of our esteemed colleagues and teachers. For the 2021 school year, I'd like to recognize Miss Melissa Cluck as the Teacher of the Year that was selected by her peers. So I want to share a little bit of facts with her on this. So Ms. Cluck has taught for 17 years, 13 of which have been through ESL. She has a huge heart for our students, and particularly for students who are ESL and may come from even traumatic backgrounds or stories. Her first priority is to make sure every student is safe. And her passion is derived from working with students whose first language is not English, from her Spanish class in her senior year, where she was paired with someone from a country that did not speak English. And so was fascinated with the language, enjoyed watching this individual learn the language, and that kind of helped drive her passion for wanting to become an ESL teacher. Outside of her school, she's an Upward Bound instructor, and she is working through the Northeastern State University. She provides and helps provide workshops and classes, and particularly support for low-income students. What's really great about the Upward Bound program, is that it really targets families who may have this student in school who's the first child who may potentially go to college. Well, she's a living representation of that, and so wants other students to know it can be done. And so part of her involvement with that program is to help provide those pathways for those students and give them guidance through that process. She's a lifelong learner. She's graduated college several times. Now, I'm not quite sure, does that mean did you get kicked out and come back in and then have to start over? But no. She's done her master's and she's got an administration degree. She has 2 fantastic children. Her daughter currently is attending Oklahoma State and is pursuing a degree in architecture. Her son has recently joined the Marines, and he is shipping out September 21st. So we'll keep him in our thoughts for sure. So a fun fact is that September 21st is also your 20th wedding anniversary. So kind of 2 big emotions going on that same day. Whenever she is not here at school, she loves to read, kayak, cook, and spending time with her family. But the thing that exemplifies her as the Teacher of the Year is based on the colleagues and their wonderful statements about her. I could have written pages and pages from the comments that they shared, but just here's a few. She always brings positive energy to her students. Her primary care is for her students above all else. And most importantly, her impact on her students is very evident and very clear. And so it was really no doubt in our minds that this past year when the teacher selected Miss Melissa Cluck as the Teacher of the Year for the middle school, that it was an easy choice. And so I'd like to thank you and honor her at this time with that recognition. Thank you.
Melissa,
Thank
would
you.
you like to say anything?
I do, because I feel like I'm accepting this award for all of our teachers. It wasn't just me that was Teacher of the Year. We had to change the process in no time. And it was a lot of work, and I know we worked endless hours together. So when I was told I was Teacher of the Year, I'm like, no, it's just not me. It's all of us. And we were in a time that it was just totally different. But we really had to work together. We had to get together, talk all the time, even at 10 o'clock at night. Trying to figure out the lessons and modify it. How do we make them meaningful? And also checking on our kids and the rapport and checking on each other. So I just want to say thank you to all of the teachers in the district. We all are Teachers of the Year. Thank you so much.
So, Mr. Moose, this is David Moose. He is the Silent Springs Intermediate School Teacher of the Year this year. He has served Silent Springs for 14 years. And during that time, he has taught 8th grade language arts. Correct me if I missed any of this, okay? 8th grade language arts, 6th grade social studies, 6th grade language arts, and is now our career technology teacher at 6th grade. So he served us in a ton of capacities because he is widely talented in what we do. I asked teachers to give me some feedback as to who they think he is. Why would he fit Teacher of the Year? Some of those teachers said he's a blessing. He goes above and beyond. He has a generous heart. He is willing to help with everything, and his laugh is absolutely infectious. Mr. Moose is always willing to jump in. Combine that with his outstanding sense of humor, and you have a fantastic teacher. I asked a couple of his former colleagues to tell us what they thought, and I'd like to read these in their entirety because they really sum up David. Joe Lee, who taught with him last year, said David is one of those teachers who makes school fun for both students and teachers. His passion for teaching and the kids and his care is clearly visible to anyone who knows him. He is always willing to speak to the best interests of students and provide a voice for them. The kids truly know they have someone in their corner. Another one said, when I heard David was chosen Teacher of the Year, I wasn't the slightest bit surprised. David encompasses every trait a parent wants for their child's teacher. Working with him for the first 2 years of my teaching career was truly a blessing. If I ever had any questions or problems or first-year teacher panic moments, he stopped. I hope every school has a David Moose, someone who spreads joy through smiles, someone who can whip out a brand new schedule in a moment's notice, someone that everyone is happy to see, someone who counts on school day in and day out, someone students always remember for someone that made them feel safe. So, David Moose, Intermediate School Teacher of the Year.
Thank you, guys. It's an honor. It's a privilege. There's a lot of people deserving this besides me. So thank you.
I'm Amy Hufford, and I'm the principal at Southside Elementary, and I am excited to introduce to you Brian Hyde. Brian joined our school district in 2017 as our reading interventionist at Southside. She is married to Chuck Hyde and has 2 sons, Charlie, who is a 9th grader at Siloam Springs High School, and Jonathan, a 7th grader at the middle school. Brian graduated from the University of Arkansas, where she earned a Bachelor of Science degree in special education. She furthered her education, earning her master's in special education and reading. She began her career as a SPED teacher and later worked as an adjunct professor at John Brown University before coming to Southside. So when I asked Brian what inspired her to be a teacher, she explained that she comes from a family of educators. Her mom and her aunt were both teachers, and Brian shared that her father was adamant that when you had an interest in something, you had to volunteer in that area. She began volunteering in general education and special education classrooms. This helped her realize what she wanted to do with her life and pursued a degree in the field of special education. I had the privilege of meeting Brian when her son started 1st grade, and she became actively involved in PTO and as a volunteer at our school. She led the Parent Center, she scheduled monthly meetings, and trainings for parents to support them and provide information about the school, and it was amazing. She was also a frequent volunteer in the classroom, and as we learned more about her background in education, we wasted no time in seeking her input. She was a valuable asset to us and always willing to share her knowledge and her love for the process of reading. When Southside began looking for a reading interventionist, I'm sure her name was mentioned more than once. And when she accepted the position, since she has accepted the position, she has been a role model, demonstrating a strong work ethic and a desire to continuously learn and grow. She does not hesitate to actively pursue knowledge. I distinctly remember a time when she talked about calling David Kilpatrick, as a prominent reading author and a researcher, just to ask a few questions. Her peers further expressed how much they value her. Mrs. Moose shared, Brian manages to take the struggle that some students have with reading and teach them ownership and pride in their learning. Her students know that she believes in them. Another teacher, Mrs. Wilma, also noted, what can I say about the best teacher ever? She is a kind and passionate reading teacher who loves her kids and the people around her. She does anything and everything to help her students and teachers to be successful. We rely on her a lot. She has taught us so much. Other teachers described her with words like very knowledgeable, passion for teaching reading, well-respected, and goes above and beyond. I would add intentional, an expert resource, and a support for her peers, as well as an advocate for her students. Our teachers have once again chosen a very deserving recipient, and I am proud to represent our school in honoring her as Teacher of the Year.
I am smiling behind my mask. Thank you very much. This is a huge honor, and it means so much to be acknowledged by peers. It means a great deal. But I also want to say that nobody gets to this place without the support and encouragement of others. And so I've got an amazing administrator behind me, the school board. Thank you for what you have done and your support and encouragement during these very difficult days. Thank you, Mr. Wiggins. We had the best PD ever and an excellent start to a very difficult year. And I also want to thank my family. Couldn't be here without my family. And most of all, I want to acknowledge that the position of reading intervention would not be here today if it weren't for the vision of Tamara Lane. It was her passion and her vision that all students were educated, and they were educated with excellence. And it was a joy to work with her, and I pray that her legacy of excellence continues on, and that legacy of educating all students continues on through us. So thank you very much. I'm smiling again. I know you can't tell. Long time no see. So I have the privilege of introducing Miss Angela Brown, who is Allen's 2021 Teacher of the Year. And I've also had the privilege of working with Angie at a couple of different settings. So Angie first started out her career at Northside as a kindergarten teacher. She and her husband, Rusty, have two amazing kiddos who have gone through the Salem Springs School District, Jackson and Grayson. Angie earned her bachelor's degree in early childhood education from JVU in 2011. Then she went on to work and get her master's degree in school counseling. She also has a mental health counseling with an emphasis in play therapy degree. And she graduated from JVU again in 2019 with that degree. Like I said earlier, she started her career as a kindergarten teacher.
And then she moved to first grade and taught first grade in 2017. The following year, she was able to fulfill her dream and become a school counselor. So she's been the school counselor at Allen since then. This is her third year. She is humble, she is patient, and she has a heart full of empathy for absolutely everybody. There are numerous examples of what Angie does on a daily basis, but I'm going to share a few of the things that her colleagues said about her. Angie has been known to take on a challenging situation and never, ever lose her positive attitude. She goes above and beyond to meet the needs of others, not only kids, but also staff. Whether it's giving up a lunch on countless days to spend time with a student who's struggling, or taking time to walk staff members through difficult situations. She believes every child is a unique individual, and she creates opportunities for kids to shine in their own magical ways. She'll do anything to help others without asking any questions. She has phenomenal ideas and loves sharing knowledge and passion with her colleagues. Another interesting fact about Angie is that if she ever decides to leave education, most of her colleagues said, and we're all convinced, she's going to have an excellent career in the fashion industry. She is a decorator extraordinaire. She came in and rescued a really large bluish purple wall in my office, decorated it, looks fabulous. She also, it's been rumored that Angie can put together outfits and could probably go a whole year and never have the same thing on. So needless to say, Angie's always doing whatever is needed, and she looks great doing it. So as you can see, Angie is much loved and valued and appreciated by the whole Allen team. In fact, almost everybody who gave me feedback said, we don't know what we would do or where we would be without Angie. So, Miss Angie Brown, Allen Elementary Teacher of the Year.
I'm supposed to talk after that. Well, she said a lot of what I wanted to say. Just thanking my husband and my family. It's been a long road. It's been a lot of education for me, just to get to this point. And my time at Allen has been the most amazing time that I think I've had in our district. I came into a school where I was accepted from day one as a teacher, and then loved even more as a counselor. I've never worked with such an amazing group of women at this point, because we don't have any men right now, that just take you in and support and encourage. So everything that I try to give is what I get back on a daily basis. So I want to thank you guys for the opportunity and for giving me this honor. That's all.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you Destiny Teague. Destiny's been teaching in Siloam Springs for 6 years, and she and her husband Kyle are both from Siloam Springs. She graduated from JBU magna cum laude with a degree in early childhood education. When I asked the staff at Northside to describe Destiny to me, the following things came up multiple times: hardworking, dedicated, positive, inspirational, and phenomenal. A couple of quotes that sum up what I've seen in her classroom this year are: she focuses on the whole child, fostering an amazing sense of community and ownership in her classroom. She loves each of her students like they are her personal children. Destiny goes above and beyond to meet the individual needs and is willing to do whatever it takes to help students learn. When I asked Destiny why she became a teacher, she said, I had a teacher who went the extra mile to instill confidence in me, and I am passionate about building that same confidence in my students. I believe that if you make them feel loved, you can teach them anything. Congratulations to Destiny Teague on being the 2021 Teacher of the Year for Northside Elementary.
I just wanted to say that I'm very appreciative of this honor to represent Northside. I love my job, and I love that I get to wake up every day and go to one of my favorite places in the entire world and see all of my favorite people. My coworkers and my administration are always just showing so much support, and I love watching my kids become problem solvers and readers and writers and mathematicians, and it's my favorite place to be. So.
Is that
I
complete?
believe that's it. Yes, sir.
I will assume there's no comments from patrons.
No, sir.
All right. So now we'll let the minutes show, Bambi, we have an established quorum. And the first item will be to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting, Zoom meeting of August 13th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A little easier to do in person, isn't it? Yeah, we don't have to wait and move. All right, now we'll go to reports, and up first is Mr. Wiggins.
I have a couple of things really quick. Just wanted to remind you all that we have a legislative session coming up in the spring. And every legislative session for us is very exciting because there are usually dozens, if not hundreds, of new laws that affect education in the state of Arkansas. So a lot of that planning, a lot of the behind the scenes work is already happening with our legislators. We had asked for a statewide adequacy study, a new adequacy study for funding of education, and the legislature the last time approved to hire an outside consulting firm. There was a lot of debate back and forth on that, and some upheaval at the point that when they decided to hire one, but they settled on a company. It's APA. I can't remember what those three letters stand for. I wrote down APA, but I didn't write down the words. It's three names. But APA is doing a adequacy study for the state of Arkansas right now. And that's taken a very different form because right after it was approved, COVID hit, and a lot of the things that they were going to do, they've had to adjust on the fly. And so I know several people in this room, or a couple of people at least in this room, have been asked to be on survey panels over the next week or so. I believe Amy was actually on one yesterday with APA to talk about school funding in the state of Arkansas and other issues. So I believe Terry and I both are on a panel next week. Just wanted to give you that information. APA is supposed to be presenting to the legislature their findings. They have already started that. A lot of what they've done so far is national data. We have gotten very limited reports on what that data showed, but one of the big things that came out this week was that schools who have a high number of low-income students don't do as well on tests. And I'm not sure that that was a radical new idea or information, but that was one of the things that they reported this week. I believe that they are going to start very quickly after they finish these panel discussions on giving more Arkansas-specific data and comparing us to other states, and hopefully pointing out some best practices either in our state or in other states to our legislature. So I present all of that to say that the legislative session, our adequacy committee, which is made up of the Senate and House education committees will be working over the next 2 months to try to plan their legislative agenda. And that's a key time. So I know Travis is our legislative liaison, so I will touch base with Travis and make sure that we're in touch and keeping track of what's going on in Little Rock that's going to affect us long term. And that is that concludes my report.
Really?
Yes, sir.
So when is the session?
Starts
It's usually
in
fall.
it's in the spring. They do every other year. They do a budget session in the fall, I think, but the big session starts in the spring. It'll be hot and heavy in the spring.
Thank you. Cool. Ms. Carter.
Good evening. It's good to see everybody face to face. We've had good Zoom sessions too, so I don't mean that bad. I'm just here to give a quick little update about where we are since the beginning of school. So our August in-service, we had several really good quality PDs, and I can say that with confidence from the teacher surveys that luckily about 150 of them replied out of our about 200 or so that participated in those. And we had William Van Cleve, who is a science of reading expert that was on some of our science of reading state videos. And so we had 2 full days with him for several of the faculty. And then we had our ambitious teaching, which was Quest training for math individuals, hosted on those same 2 days. And again, the teacher surveys were very high quality, giving mainly 4s and 5s on our scale of 1 to 5, with a few 3s thrown in there, which is okay too. And then we also had a few of our teachers, about 13 of them, have already had ambitious teaching. And so I reached out to the DESE math specialists, and they provided a special training for those 13 that kind of built on the Quest ambitious teaching training from year 1. And again, out of those 13, I think we had 8 reply. And again, it was 4s and 5s. So earlier, Brian had mentioned the good quality PD that we had. And so it was nice to hear, because I do believe from our surveys, it reflects that as well. Then in the buildings, we have a lot of new curriculum. So we've talked about the illustrative math curriculum, and we also have a new ELA curriculum, so language arts curriculum. And so that's been a learning curve for all of us across the board, and our teachers are hanging in there. I had a coach meeting this morning with the instructional facilitators, and they said teachers are still positive, they're engaged with it. It's a new curriculum, but they're not negative, they're not down, they're just jumping in there willing to learn what it is. And so again, during those August in-service days, their teachers had training for all of those to support that as well. And then a big piece, which we've talked about in a few of the other Zoom meetings, were our digital training pieces to help support our teachers with the new software pieces like Screencastify or Edulastic. And so Lori Clark and Fern Voigt helped with that. They're 2 of our tech instructional facilitators. But I would also like to talk about some of our building people that stepped up with those technology pieces and helped, because Lori and Fern can't do it all. And so we had some of our staff members that stepped in and helped train as well. So all of that said, we were really trying to focus on supporting our teachers in this new age of what we have to do to be able to serve our kids better. So that, I think it was Mr. Blanchard, and so I hope I don't get that wrong. And one of his, he has a positivity email that he sends out every Saturday. It's kind of his newsletter to staff. And so he talked about that first week, how everybody was a little anxious and the kids are coming back and what are we going to do with masks and how are we going to social distance? But in his positivity letter, he talked about after the kids actually walked through the door, the calm that came over the building. And so he really, was, I guess, in a positive manner, trying to let his teachers know that it was successful after that first week. And it really was. All of us visited various buildings that first week to help support. Like I was at Allen Elementary and Mr. Wiggins was at high school. So we all kind of pick a place and we support them that first week. So at the end, though, I really thought that was a good way for Mr. Blanchard to talk about the kids coming back. We were anxious, but in the end, it was really back to doing business as usual, serving our kids. So that was good to hear. And then my next little part is about, it's kind of a celebration in itself. The ladies in CO2 and myself worked with the state, and there was a grant that was available for math curriculum. And it's Tier 1 math curriculum grant. So they call it the T1MC. And we were awarded and approved for $175,000. So, yes, we were excited to get that notification. So we haven't received it yet, and we'll actually, so Terry, don't get too excited. We'll receive it over a 2-year time frame. But its purpose is to help us support Tier 1 instruction, which is the core curriculum. And that, again, is our illustrative math. And so that will help us with purchasing our curriculum and manipulatives that might be needed for that curriculum, as well as like math tools, like compasses or calculators, as well as professional training. So we're excited that we received that, and we're appreciative to Desi for approving us. And that really ends my report, but do you have any questions?
How's the virtual school going?
Virtual school is moving forward. We have definitely had challenges and hurdles. We still have a few, along with everybody else in the state, I guess. We have some students and families that kind of felt Virtual Academy was like the spring instruction, a little more lax and not new learning. And so those first few days of school was quite a bit challenging. And so we're overcoming that. We did have some students leave virtual and choose to come back to brick and mortar, which is perfectly fine as well. And so that, has been kind of a fluid piece those first 10 or so days of school. But virtual school, all in all, is really moving forward with Pearson, again, out of our hands. But Pearson itself had some issues with logging in and probably serving the mass across the nation like they do. And so we had to jump some of those hurdles and figure some of that out. But as of this week, the logging in and those type things have kind of settled into a pretty good place at this point. Anything else?
I want to just mention, I appreciate the fact that we've got virtual teachers, that that's all they're doing is virtual school.
Yes.
I've been hearing about schools where teachers are going till 1:30 in the day, teaching face-to-face, turning around and doing virtual classes from that point to the end of the day. And that's hard. That's really, really hard. So I appreciate that we've got that pretty separated for the most part.
Yes, for the most part. We do have a few, and it's in our 712 realm, with some that do have to serve both brick and mortar and virtual. But we do have a lot that are solely virtual, and they're able to give it their full attention and not feel split. Totally. Good. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. I wanted to kind of make sure that our board and our public was aware that, as many of you know, I'm the point of contact for the district to the Department of Health on the COVID-19 related issues. And so I want to make sure that everybody here knew that you can access our COVID numbers on our website. Bambi updates that website for us every day that we have updates. And we do put those up there. They are 24 hours behind so that we can make sure that the data is correct. It's not, you know, up to date by the minute, but we try to update it every morning on what happened in the past day. And so, but some of the things that are on there are, we put the cumulative staff positive cases we have, the active staff positive, active staff quarantine. Then we have cumulative student positive, active student positive, and then active student quarantine. And then we also list the total number of positive cases we've had in the district itself with students and staff. You know, so it's been a management feat, but I would like to publicly thank Lori Tugwell, Director of Nursing, Jimena Fernandez, and the ESL department for helping me move forward in dealing with this and all of this information that's come in. I don't know what I would do without them. And then our building principals are doing one heck of a job of managing this. It is not easy, and for any of us, and they're doing a great job, and then they're still running their school on a day-to-day basis. So I really am appreciative and proud of the job those building administrators are doing. Do you have any questions? All right, that was easy enough.
Right, all right. Well, we shall move to action items. The first item will be to approve the August financials.
I don't really have a whole lot to report again this month. August, we only had 6 days of school, so there's not a whole lot going on those 6 days. Well, there was a lot going on, but as far as expenditures, not so much. August is the first month that we pay our entire staff. So you will notice that the numbers for our teaching fund are up quite a bit. But again, August is the first month where we pay our entire staff. We do buy a lot of our supplies for our buildings in August, so those expenses you will see are up. You will also see that I have started dropping in some budget numbers. Notice it's only the easy ones, you know, like debt. So we are frantically working on budgets right now so we can be prepared for the special board meeting later this month regarding budgets. Do you have any questions?
Yes, sir.
Move that we approve the financial statement from August.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now we need to approve that 1120 resolution of salary increases over 5%.
We do this, we present this to you every year, and it compares the previous 2 school years to one another. And anyone who has had a 5% or more increase in salaries between the 2 years is on this report, and we have to tell you why. Most of them went from being part-time workers to full-time workers, or maybe they didn't work here the previous year. We had people that changed positions. We gave a rather large bonus last year, so several people hit that 5% mark just due to the bonus. And then again, we had some people that just worked a lot more in between the 2 years. So all this is telling you who got bumped 5% from one year to the next. If you have any questions on individuals, I will try to answer your questions.
Motion to approve resolution of salary increases.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we're still approving the summer hiring.
We are still updating the summer hire list. I hope this is the last one for the year.
Well, you know, we're getting into the fall.
I know, everybody's on contract now, I hope. So,
I guess it'll be the fall.
yeah, it'll be the fall hiring list.
There you go.
Had some people that came in and did some work off contract to help school get started this year. And those timesheets and all of that stuff has trickled in. So that's what most of these are people that came in and helped us out at the beginning of the school year.
And we're thankful for it.
Yes, we are extremely thankful for it.
I move that we approve the summer hire list.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, now we have a tuition agreement with Northwest Technical Institute for 2021.
This is a yearly tuition agreement that we have with NTI. We don't have many students that go to any NTI, but we have a few. Actually, this fall, I believe we have 2 that are going to an NTI course at Gentry in diesel mechanics. And I believe we have 1 that's going to a HVAC course in Gravette. That's an NTI course. But I would recommend that we approve this tuition agreement with NTI.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now I guess we're gonna buy some Chromebooks.
In our new technological age, our technology needs never end. So we have put out to bid and are asking you to allow us to purchase 900 Chromebooks. These Chromebooks will go into replacement of some older model Chromebooks that are moving out of date, and also to help add to our inventory. With virtual school coming on board, it has definitely created an issue for us having enough technology. You'd think it wouldn't based on the number of kids, but it does create an issue for us in supply and having Chromebooks and where we need them, when we need them. So we have received 3 bids this time: Howard Technologies, White River, and CDWG. And we would recommend that we accept the low bid of CDWG for $247,504.50. These are touchscreen Chromebooks. We were able to upgrade and not for basically the same money. And so
This is budgeted in as. Isn't it?
yes, for this year.
I saw that number.
Yes.
Do
Yes.
you have a breakdown of where they're going?
Well, what part of the plan is, I don't have the exact numbers, but I know part of the plan is for them to go through virtual school, then supplement all the buildings. And one of the functions by going to touchscreen is to try to get away from iPads at kindergarten, because a lot of the stuff we use through the district, Google, different things, don't work well with iPads. So we're trying to move to something that we can be standard throughout the district. So there'll be a group of them going over there to trade out some iPads as well.
All over.
Yes, sir. They won't be going one particular place.
Motion to approve the request for proposals of Chromebooks.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
You bet. It's exciting. Item F, approve Arkansas Department of Ed's Statement of Assurances program.
This is one of many statement of assurances that we approve each year. This one specifically is for federal funds, but it is an assurance to our State Department that we are going to accept those federal funds and we're going to use them for all of the right reasons and not use them for any of the wrong reasons. And all of our federal funds come with a lot of strings attached. And so this assurance is saying that we will make sure that we abide by all of those expectations and limitations. I would recommend that we approve these assurances.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, quick note on that, Jody. Does this one send us to prison as well as the last one, or?
Well, as Mr. Ramey used to say, when I was the federal coordinator, this one is the one that sends the federal coordinator to prison if something goes wrong. And so
we're off the hook. All right.
Aye.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes, sir.
Because I know the one last year, or last month,
Which
that was,
you
that's
and I,
us.
yes.
Yeah. Whew. All right. Now Grant needs to dismiss himself. Good one. Maybe over there, or over here, wherever you choose. Just so we know where you are. Okay.
So-
We need a resolution,
So
contract, and alternative design.
yes, sir. So alternative design, which is Grant works at alternative design. Alternative design we have done business with alternative design for years and years. They provide some specialty metalworking, especially around stainless steel is what we do a lot of business with them on. But we have several projects that come up where we need custom metalworking. And they have been very good to us in the past. And now that Grant is on the board, I would request the opportunity to continue doing business with them. They have done some very specific things like gates at some of our stadiums, sporting facilities that when we get ready to do another one, we would like them to be of similar quality and make. So I would request that we be allowed to continue doing business with alternative design manufacturing. And this resolution would be one step in the process of allowing us to do that. It would also, if I'm not mistaken, Terry, it will have to go to the Department of Ed, and the commissioner will have to sign off on it as well, right? Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Did we get our thing done over here for track?
Okay.
Is it complete?
Yes, sir, we're waiting on the bids company to come reattach the chain link pins. It'll be complete. But the gate turned out really nice. And so did the turnstile. It turned out really nice.
Stop over there and look at it. You're good. All right, we need to approve teachers to work through the prep periods.
Every year, we ask you to approve some teachers to work through their prep periods, usually at the middle school and the high school. It turns out to be cheaper to allow them to do that than try to hire a part-time teacher to fill some classes or cover some classes. These three are three that we have done multiple times. They're all Agri teachers. We have a large Agri program, and so they are needed to offer some of the courses that we offer. They are needed to be able to work at least partially during their prep throughout the year. So the proportions are in there and the amounts are in for this fall semester, and I would recommend that we approve them working through their prep periods.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we are gonna have an executive session for purpose of resignations and hiring.
Yes.
All right, we'll call ourselves back into open session and we're to J, accept Resignation.
We have one resignation. You gotta get your glasses out. Russell Johnson resigned just before the start of school. I ask that you approve that resignation.
I move that we accept Russell Johnson's resignation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now we need to hire.
Would recommend that we hire Martin Rhodes to replace Russell as CTE engineering teacher at the middle school. Mr. Rhodes, we were fortunate to find somebody the second week of school to come in and take that position.
Motion to approve?
Thank you.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Let's turn back in. All right, transfers.
Actually, we have an emergency sick leave. I don't know if it showed up on your agenda.
Thank you.
So have an emergency sick leave request from Cindy McLean, and her situation meets our criteria. I would recommend that we approve this.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now, let's do it. No transfers in, you just transfer out, right?
Transfer out, we have one, Samora Neguez, age 5, from Siloam to Gravett. Recently moved, I believe, and would like to stay there.
Motion to approve transfer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That brings us to other business.
I have a couple of classified hires and resignations to just announce to you. Virginia Listman, middle school ESL para, is a new hire, along with Crystal Avalos, intermediate school ESL para. And then a couple of resignations, classified resignations. Whitney Barron from food service, and Michael Rowley, Allen Elementary sped para. And that is all I have.
You want a motion to adjourn?
If you please, or we'll just hang out.
Did you move?
I motion.
I'll second.
Or to approve, motion.
Aye.
Did we get a second?
We got a second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.